Hello, Michael.
Hi, Helen. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Nice. Very good. Nice to virtually meet you.
Yes, nice to virtually meet you too. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Ellen. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You have a little different look today.
Little beard.
Uh-huh.
A Corona beard and long hair. You know, Michael, I sent you, and I called you at the town hall. You had left.
Oh, okay.
Then I sent you an email. It obviously went to the town hall email.
Yeah.
Under abundance of caution, I know this meeting's not important, but most of the town doesn't have any power.
Right.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if if it violates the open meeting because some of these people can't get to it, or some complaints, or just so we don't get ourselves in a swing.
Yeah, let's ask Joanna. She's about to join.
Okay, cool.
It's great. Yes, good. We are out, and we started the generator for the meeting, but we are down below 25% on our propane.
Yeah.
So we should not. Our restoration time at this point is Friday.
Yeah.
So.
So Joanna, a question just came up.
I miss you guys.
Oh, we miss you. I miss you, Joanna.
Anthony misses me a lot, right?
I do, baby. I do.
What's the question?
Oh, just because most of I guess a lot of the town is out of power. The board just, or Anthony brought up the question of, is it a problem for open meeting law? I didn't think it was, but out of an abundance of caution, I understand his concern.
I don't think that it's an issue because technically, I mean, it wasn't necessarily like an act of God, and it's posted. And honestly, I don't know that we're going to be doing anything that's.
Yeah. So.
Now, Joanna, I don't know if you heard, we are out of power, and we don't have a whole lot of fuel. And so we've turned the generator on for the meeting, but I can't stay on. I could stay on for an hour.
Okay.
Maybe.
The other thing, Helen, is you can call in if you don't want to use your computer. I mean, you couldn't see anybody, but it'd probably save power.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we'll try to move it along pretty quick, just so that way,
yeah.
They really, just in case, we won't get into it real heavy in case somebody wants to make a complaint that they couldn't get to the meeting.
Yeah.
And it only takes one, Joanna, you know that, right?
Yes. But the only good thing is that there's nothing, not any quote unquote public testimony, and people could call in. So even if they didn't have electricity, if you have an old school phone line, you can dial in.
No, pardon me, Joanna. This afternoon when we had our generator off, we did not have our phone either.
Do you have like an old school line?
Landlines won't work if you don't have electricity.
Yeah.
There we are.
Oh.
Warren, I don't know if you met Mike Antonellis. Mike, that's Warren. I don't know if he came in and visited you yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Michael's our new planner. I think he's going to be fun to work with, and I think we're going to get a lot done with him. Pretty cool guy.
I don't know about this guy. I've always told my grandchildren never trust a man with a beard.
Yeah.
That would be your chair now too.
Then we're in trouble. This meeting.
You don't know what we're hiding under it. Yeah.
Who's Bronwyn?
Am I on?
Is who on? Who said that? Was that David?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, David. Yep, we can hear you.
But we can't
Okay.
see you.
How come?
Did you start your camera?
Hit your video, David.
At the bottom.
Or say video.
Video. Let me see, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is that it? Oh, I got
Mine
it.
was
I got it.
up at the little there he
There
is.
you go, David.
Handsome guy.
Cool. Okay, there's some introductions we can do here. Michael, Up, that's Mike Carpenter right there, below Helen.
Mhm.
That's David. And for the rest of the men, that's Mike Antonellis. He's our new planner. If you guys
Hey,
ever
Mike.
meet him,
Hi.
I think he's going to be great for us. Talking to him, I think we're going to be good. And George there at the bottom is our new
Hey,
planning
everybody.
board member. For all you other people, we want to welcome George to the group.
I met George.
George, did you get sworn in at town hall?
I did.
All right, perfect.
Oh, thanks, Joanna. Yeah.
But then you're official,
Excellent. Thank you.
right?
George from Snagwood Road?
Yep.
Yeah, we talked.
For my records, can you spell your last name for me so I can put it down properly?
I can. It's Sackal.
Sacco.
Yep.
Okay, and that's how you pronounce it?
That is how you pronounce it. Thank you.
I guess it's, oh, we got someone that's coming in. I don't know who that is. It must be somebody from the public.
Yeah, I'll bet it's Joe Carey.
I bet it is too.
Mhm.
Anthony, did you want to start the meeting?
Yes. I guess a call to order. We can have, today's date is August 5th, 2020 at 7:02 p.m. If we can have a roll call from Ellen
Okay, Anthony Renzi, Chair.
here.
Warren Ducharme, Vice Chair.
Here?
Mike Carpenter. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
We missed you.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Joanna.
David Palisi.
Here.
George Sacco.
Here.
Also present is Helen Hardy, Secretary. And we're guessing Joe Carey, but he doesn't have his video or audio unmuted, so he may be here, but
I'm controlling the meeting, but I can't unmute him
No,
for him. So
he has his own, and I assume Joe knows how to do that if he wants to. I assume that.
He's listening,
Mhm.
not
Good.
participating. Okay, on the agenda, there is really nothing new that's coming at us.
First thing is minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
yeah, it's sent out. I think it was March 2nd minutes.
March 4th.
March 4th. Yeah, March 4th. It looks pretty bare bones, so those might need a little punching up.
Those actually, when I looked at it, I thought, well, that now was not the minutes that I gave to Carol, that Carol Lyons and I went over.
Okay.
But it may, that we would have gone over them the following Monday or Tuesday, I would assume. And that was just as everything was shutting down. And
Okay.
the possibility that those minutes have gone somewhere unknown.
Okay.
Excellent, probably.
I'll try and find the recording then and ask Carol to.
Well, yeah, if Carol can come up with the written minutes that we went over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to hold off on voting on those?
Yeah, well, if it makes Helen, who writes the minutes, happy, we can do that. We can move that to the next meeting.
Table.
Okay, do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so David seconded and I didn't notice who moved.
That Mike Carpenter.
That Mike, thank you, Mike.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
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 I think you have to take a roll call with people's names.
We did, Joanna. We have Anthony Renzi, Warren Ducharme.
When you vote.
Vote.
When you vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
It's because we're on the Zoom. Yes, you need to name
Oh,
everybody.
that's a Zoom.
Sorry.
Okay, I didn't know that. And I think everybody
Okay,
voted.
on the vote, Warren abstains because I wasn't there.
Okay.
Okay, and George, do you want to vote?
Sure. Aye. Approved.
I think it's just to table it, so it's not a substantive vote.
Right, right, not substantive. Okay. I'll fill in everybody's names later so we don't have to wait for me.
Okay. I'm a little rusty and the Zooming is killing me.
Next is correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
There was no correspondence submitted. I did not receive any. Did anybody else receive correspondence?
I didn't receive any.
Anthony, do you want me to just read the topics off one by one so you don't have to worry about flipping back and forth?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Next up is zoning ordinance, revising prohibited uses in the zoning ordinance.
So if you guys could fill me in where you left off on this, I tried to include any materials that were from your last meeting, which would have, your last meeting included this as a topic of discussion. So I see there was a copy of the description of uses that was given to you guys at that meeting. Then I think I also gave Jennifer did sort of a write-up of who was working on what. So I think I included that. I don't know. But what I'm looking at is revised prohibited uses in zoning ordinance as of November 20th. Discussed at planning board meeting. It looks like it was assigned to Mike. Do you guys have that? Or I'll send it
Yeah.
back in the office if you don't.
Yeah, no, I think that's okay.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, Michael, I'm not sure if you have, I have got what we went over that night.
Okay.
And it's basically backwards now for you. But
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
goes down the list of different things and, you know, what's not allowed, what's prohibited, what's a special use permit. It just went right down the list of, you know, and I'm assuming, Mike, you must have been the person who engineered the.
Yeah, Jennifer and I met and went over the prohibited list. We met at the next meeting, which was, I believe, February. We did discuss that.
Yep.
And then we carried it forward to the March meeting.
Yep.
So, and at the March minutes, right? Let's see, what did we say?
Well, there's virtually nothing on the March minutes, Mike.
Oh, okay, it didn't.
The minutes, we're not quite sure what happened to the minutes.
Okay.
March minutes says revising prohibited uses in the zoning ordinance, discussions on
All they did is just, it became item E on the March minutes,
Correct.
okay?
private airstrips, heliports, asphalt or grass in a brewery.
Yeah. And that, I had that note on my list that Helen held up before.
Yep.
What's in zoning.
Mhm.
I have, Michael sent that out. If you want, I mean, I can put it on the screen if I think everybody has it. It was in our packet.
I did not have this list in our packet. The annotated list, what I have, I went back and found from,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was the March meeting.
Yes.
So, before there's anything about this, and David.
I seem to recall that we did go through all of these because we were talking about like the water treatment center and a dry, like what is a mass, like laundromat. I think that
Yes.
that Michael sent out, that Jennifer's notes that are on the side are essentially what we went through.
Right.
We from what I recall, we were voting on things kind of one by one. And then we were going to take, and then maybe we stopped and we're going to take a final vote. So I don't know if you want to take the vote now, if everybody wants to take a look at and make sure that they're still, well, because now we have members that, some of the members are gone and they're new members. But in what Michael did send out to you guys, that list is on here. Like the list that Helen has, and I think it's Jennifer's writing, talking about what we thought should be permitted, what we thought should be a special use. Who is the host? Are you the host?
I am, yeah.
Can you let me share the screen?
Yeah. Okay, you should be able to try now.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that was in the packet that, Mike, you sent us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that the notes on the margin on the left, these were the notes that Jennifer took while voting. While we were voting.
Yep.
And Joanna, may I make a comment?
No, of course.
For all the members, because like you said, there have been lots of changes and events that affect this. I think it's good that we all have understanding and agreement why we were looking at the prohibited list.
Yeah, please.
Because we were trying to allow more activity in the town. And before we decided on accessory uses, we thought it would be a good idea to see what was already prohibited. So a revised prohibited list in zoning would prevent us from acting on concerns about expanding use in terms of allowable accessory uses. And when we looked at the list, we realized that it hadn't been updated for some time because some things, we mark some things, if you look at your handout, some things are marked NA, like carbon black manufacturer. There's probably not a reason to list that. And that's where some of the discussion about if you don't list it, somebody will try to do it, came into play. And that's where Joanna's concern about reviewing this in its entirety came into play. So everybody has a good understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. We're just trying to make, in one sentence, we're trying to make the prohibited list relevant to what our planning is for accessory uses. That's the mission. So anything that's on there that shouldn't be on there, we probably should remove. And anything that's not on there that should be on there should be added.
All right, so we have SP for special
Permit.
use, right? Permit.
Yeah.
Applicable if we don't think
Yep.
it really matters. What does the P stand for?
For permitted.
For permitted. Okay, and if there's nothing next to it, then it's still on the prohibited list,
Yes.
such as junkyards. Well, I was going to say glue manufacturing, but that's not applicable. Okay, thank you.
Would it be logical to move that we briefly, under the direction of Anthony, just quickly review the list? There's probably 50 items on there. Just go through them to get an opinion.
Yeah.
And then we could, that would be, if I move that we do that, someone can second it, and then we can stop the discussion if it gets too lengthy and put it in a future agenda item again.
Absolutely. We can do that and move through it pretty quick.
So I move that we just briefly review the prohibited list so everyone has good understanding and agreement about what we're trying to do.
I second.
That was George, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
You gotta list people's names.
Oh,
Sorry.
aye.
Let's see. Anthony, I, Warren,
Aye, Warren.
Mike, yes. David,
Aye.
yeah, and George seconded the motion, so assuming, so that would be everybody is aye.
Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, I'm just gonna go through this and really quick. Under zoning, prohibited uses are,
Hey, Mike,
yes,
you're going to do this so that I can take notes on it for the minutes. Okay.
I've got the same list as you have, so if you want, that way you can make notes right on your list.
Planning to.
Okay, this is August 5th.
Yep.
First item I have is automobile, truck, or trailer vehicle.
There's a page before that.
Yeah, Mike, you gotta go up a page.
Oh.
I put it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, the following use shall not be permitted within the town of Foster. Okay, I must have lost that page.
Okay, I've lost it too.
Okay, is everyone with me on 38-193 prohibited uses?
Yes.
Yes.
Following uses shall not be permitted within the town of Foster. Acetylene gas manufacturer. We agreed, leave it prohibited. Does anybody disagree with that?
I think we said it was not applicable.
So we want to allow it?
No, we just
Well,
said-
Michael, what's your opinion on this? If
well,
we,
you can make acetylene gas in a small facility, and it is extremely poisonous and dangerous.
we'll leave it on the list then.
So, because there's a possibility, outlandish possibility that someone might do it, I think we wanted to say on things like that someone could possibly do, we wanted to leave prohibited. Acid manufacturer is the next, and I know it says NA, but I believe we agreed to say leave it prohibited.
Exactly.
Airport or heliport, we put special use permit, which in this day and age may or may not be an advantage to us. I think the general agreement was that if health and safety officials felt that we needed that, we'd probably want to let someone make an appropriate facility.
Well, are you separating heliport from airport? Because I don't know if, airport.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you could say make it just heliport, because you're not going to make an airport out here. I can tell you that right now.
We,
Rycon's close enough if you need one of those.
we at the last meeting, I'm sorry, we said someone could possibly want to put in a private airstrip. And so we said either asphalt or grass or a private airstrip.
Helen, the thing is, it should be governed by special use permit,
Yeah.
because we would then have control over what it was, how big it was, where it was.
Yeah.
I think I'm correct on that, right, Joanna?
Yes, I think what we talked about last time was not that we didn't want to say only a heliport with a special use. We wanted to leave it open that if it was an airstrip, not an airport,
That's
that
right.
we would allow like a private airstrip.
Exactly, Joanna. Airstrip, somebody's got enough land, cuts the trees, he can put an airstrip in, but special use permit, he still have to come in front of us. Same thing with a heliport. Airport, no, we don't want an airport in the town, so.
We'll leave that prohibited.
So we'll leave airport or heliport and somehow,
Can I ask a question? What's
Sure.
the advantage to having either of these in town?
What's the what?
What's the advantage to having either of those in town? A
If
heliport or
I
a
have
heliport?
100 acres and I have enough money and I can get my own helicopter, I want to land it on my property, I'm going to put a heliport. And there's a lot of people here with a lot of land. My neighbor owns 600 acres. He can put a strip, a heliport, he can put whatever he wants in his house. He's got enough room to do it. So I would, that's a personal thing. But if
Right.
somebody was to come here and put some large manufacturing or large office building or somewhere with the help of God, that they would come in here and do it, and they wanted to put a heliport in there.
So are we specifying that it's for personal use only, or are you talking about now you're going to have skydiving operating out of, or a commercial operation?
Well,
That needs to be specified because we're opening it up to.
So, so George, what we're talking about right now is what we're talking about is prohibited uses, and we've all agreed airport or heliport are prohibited. We have, noted to ourselves, and I don't think it is anywhere in the zoning regs, to my recollection, that if someone wanted to put in a private airstrip or heliport for their own personal use, that they would have to do that with a special use permit. And I guess I would ask if Michael, at some point when you don't have anything better to do, if you can just check and make sure that that was something that's on the list of special use permits.
It's not. So that we're gonna have to add it to the use table about what zone it would be allowed in with the special use permit. And then because it's such a larger scale thing, we may want to add like a small ordinance about it in and of itself, but that's something you can think about. I would say that that'd be a future. So anything we're going to take off and put on a special use permit, a future agenda item is we got to figure out where we're putting it in the use table.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm being hung up on the definition of private.
Well, I think that George's point is valid, that
Yeah.
coming along with our assumptions should be a definition of what we're talking about, that if we're going to include it in a special use permit, we should come up with a definition.
I agree. I think that's, if we're going to move stuff off, our next step is like use table, definition, does it need its own ordinance? I think that's probably step 2.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, don't add things to the ordinance without defining them, for sure.
Yeah.
So would it be appropriate, so we can move this ahead, can we just say private airport or heliport?
How about personal?
With the definition.
As Mike, we're prohibiting airports or heliports.
Right.
Wait, I thought we were allowing a heliport or an airstrip with a special use permit, but prohibiting the airport.
Yes.
Yes.
So since we're going down the list of prohibited uses,
What does private mean, Michael? Does that mean a private person owns it for their own personal use? What
That's
does that
correct.
mean?
That's how the FAA classifies a private airstrip. You cannot land at a private airstrip or heliport without the permission of the owner.
Right, but so if the owner starts permitting parachuting or
That's
other,
commercial.
okay,
That would have to be commercial because of the licensing and the type of aircraft. Skydiving operations require obviously a place to land as well
right,
for the skydivers. So, and it's very strictly regulated because of the danger involved. So private airstrips are quite common in places like New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
places with land.
And there's
Right.
just a big farm and a grass strip. In fact, there's a couple right across the border in Massachusetts in Uxbridge.
Yeah.
so they're not using it for the purpose of financial gain, they're using it just for their own
Exactly, and it's actually
enjoyment.
more common than you'd think, because as you move out to agricultural properties in New York And even in Mass, a lot of
Right.
times the cranberry bogs use helicopters to harvest the cranberries and spray their bogs. And the farmers fertilize. And, you know, you've all heard of crop dusters. And
Sure.
unless you can load and unload crop dusters, you can't use them on your property. So I think we're on the right track. I don't want to get off track. I agree with Helen that as we revise the prohibited list, we want to prohibit an airport or heliport, but then as Joanna said, we need to put private airport or heliport or private airstrip
Yeah, strip, right.
or helipad
Yeah.
on a special use permit only, and we need to work that out with appropriate restrictions.
That's how it should be listed, and that's how we should write it.
Yeah, so that would be a future agenda item.
Yeah.
That's something.
So
we-
we're gonna just say airport and heliport will stay prohibited
Yeah.
because we're just not big enough.
Joanna, do we have to say public or just leave it airport or heliport?
You can leave it airport or heliport, and you would say private helipad, private airstrip.
We won't say anything because we're not prohibiting them, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and again, let's try to get a few more of these so we don't waste too much time on this because we probably will cover this again.
Yeah.
Ammonia or bleach manufacturer, we had NA, but we agreed prohibited because someone might try it and we don't want it. And any use which is obnoxious by reason of the emissions of gases, odors, noise, dust, vibration, or soot, or by reason of the danger of fire or explosion. I think that should be an NA because it's too vague to enforce.
That is not
It's not enforceable. Wouldn't you agree, Joanna?
at all.
So we need to eliminate that one, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah,
like
because
a-
somebody can, somebody with a business or something can come and tear that up apart. That's subjective on that there. So just take that right out.
Okay, moving on, asphalt manufacturing or refine, does that say or refining or of refining?
It's
Oh,
of.
but
I think it might.
it should say or.
Now, we had SP next to that, and the only reason we did is because the state and federal government, and Anthony knows it can verify this, requires the use of a certain amount of recycled asphalt. And I don't want us to shoot ourselves in the foot here because we would want the recycled asphalt to be used because it's good for the environment. Now, and we don't want to, it's not something that should be manufactured, but it's going to require someone to participate if they want to bid on a paving job using recycled asphalt. And I'm going to defer to Anthony here because I think he'd be better suited to say whether or not in Foster is a good idea to stockpile, reclaimed asphalt.
Just a comment, if I may. There's at least one business operating in, one Foster resident operating in town who does reprocessed asphalt driveways. And if you drive by my house, you'll see I have a new one as of about a month ago, which is, I know his operation is not in, his business is not in Foster, it's in Johnston. But and so maybe that's the key there, is that, where he grinds the asphalt, Mike, is not in town, it's in Johnston at his business. He does not do it here, but he does bring it here. There are all kinds of, if you drive up and down the road and look at the signs that say driveways by Rich, That's all reprocessed asphalt.
The grinding asphalt that comes off the highways and everything. So that would just be a storage situation, Michael. If somebody has a commercial piece of property or land or whatever, it would just be stockpiling it and they would use it somewhere else. If it's zoned for it, if it falls into that. Now the manufacturing of it, what they're doing is if you take an asphalt plant like Miozy's at Quonset or D'Amber in Johnston or whatever, they use half of the ground up asphalt and the new stuff, but they do have a plant that they do make real asphalt using both. So, and it's a pretty big, they're pretty good operations. And if there's a spot that's zoned for it or whatever, I don't see why there'd be anything wrong with it. And, you know, it's not going to be in somebody's backyard or in the, you know.
Comment from Warren, Anthony.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Once it's ground and stockpiled, it produces an absolute hazard to the groundwater. And in Forster, that's the concern.
Where does it say that, Warren?
No, that's a fact. When you
Really?
take the asphalt that's been laying down
Yeah,
on the grade,
yeah.
it hardens and the EPA and everything, they say, well, it's benign after 25 feet of travel. But when you take and build a mountain of it and it's ground and it's now all freshly re-exposed oils within the product, it produces a hazard to water.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
That would be our concern.
Okay, that's a good concern. But
And I-
then my concern, or what you're saying, then all these other piles which are throughout the state. I mean, there are hundreds of these things piled up everywhere.
Hopefully they're not next to your well.
Oh, well, I don't know what you want to do with it. Whatever you want to do with it.
Well, what's on the prohibited use is not storage of reprocessed asphalt. It's asphalt manufacturing.
Right.
And then maybe we just want to say asphalt manufacture and get rid of refining, Joanna? Or do you want to say asphalt manufacture or storage? I'm not quite sure. What do we want to prohibit?
Anthony, you're talking like aggregate size plants?
Yeah.
So
Silos.
you're looking at like an aggregate with, you know, the conveyor belts and the grinding processes, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's a fairly substantial business.
It's what?
It's a fairly substantial size business, space-wise and
Absolutely.
revenue-wise.
Absolutely.
Can I just
Tax-wise.
remind everybody that we have one area in town which is zoned for manufacturing industrial,
Where's that?
and it's up on Route, I think it is still in existence, and it's up on Route 101, right at the town boundary.
Oh, yeah.
And it is currently a wood pallet plant, process pallet manufacturing.
Yeah, it was. It burnt down. It's clear. There's nothing there now. But that there is enough room there to put an asphalt plant if somebody wanted to. The problem is a lot of our industrial and commercial is very close to residential.
I was just going to say, and I'm pretty sure that is right in the reservoir zone, correct?
It could have an effect. I'm not DEM. I'm just what I see.
Well,
Do we leave it on there and then do further studies?
why don't we take Helen's suggestion and just prohibit asphalt manufacturing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And that would provide us with a reason to allow recycled asphalt on homeowners' driveways.
Go ahead. That's
Is that
fine.
okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to redefine or try to locate an asphalt plant in Foster, because I think we'd be outside our comfort zone, according to what Anthony's telling us. Okay, let's move on. automobile, truck, or other vehicle junkyard.
Missed atomic energy processes. and-
I'm sorry, atomic energy process and storage. I'd say keep it prohibited. Again, we had it NA, but there is a potential for home reactors in the future, so we probably want to prohibit it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Joanna, did you have a question?
No, I was gonna say he missed the one too.
I'm
Oh, okay.
sorry. Yeah, automobile or other vehicle junkyard. Okay, based on our experience with on Mill Road, with John's property and the goats and all of the inaction by the DEM, I think that should be prohibited. Okay, and
Enough junkyards in this town.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would say, first of all, it's unnecessary in this day and age because of the nature of the automobile business. But without getting philosophical or technical, I'm just saying I think it's a good idea and consistent with our comprehensive plan to prohibit automobile, other vehicle junkyards, because that automatically conjures up visions of acres and acres of cars being disassembled for parts and polluting the environment. I don't think anybody's in strong disagreement with that. That's something we need to correct.
Prohibited, no more junkyards in
No
town.
more, absolutely prohibited, okay?
Done. That's probably one of the biggest things. That's what's ruined this town, is allowing it.
Oh,
Whether it's a commercial junkyard or whatever you guys are doing, but it's a junkyard, no matter which way you look at it. Okay, you almost can put dismantling of automobiles.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to step it up here a little. Brewery or distillery, we want a special use permit for that.
Yes.
Carbon black manufacturer. Carbon black is a byproduct of industrial process used in the manufacture of paint. And again, I just say keep it prohibited because you never know when it's gonna creep in on the margin.
Agreed.
Cement, lime, gypsum, proxylene, or plastic manufacturing, keep it prohibited. Chlorine manufacture, prohibited. Coal distillation and derivative of, I guess they're using not derivative, but derivation of coal products.
Yep.
Prohibited. Commercial facilities established for the purpose of storage, processing, or disposal of organic and non-organic waste. Now we got to be careful here, and again, I'll refer to Anthony or anyone else who deals regularly with the landfill. There's a recent change in policy at the landfill
Yeah,
that is penalizing, okay, users for bringing in organic waste. Am I correct, Anthony?
yeah.
And the reason for that, guys, is, and this is something that I don't want to get technical, but it's very important to know. The Rhode Island landfill does not have a leachate plant. And what happens in a landfill is when you pile all that stuff in a giant mound, all of the liquid trickles down to the base. It has to be pumped out and processed because it can't be allowed to seep into the groundwater. When they constructed landfills, there's only a very few. The only one I know of offhand is in Binghamton, where the state of New York built a leachate processing plant before they built the landfill. To prevent just that from happening.
There is a leachate processing plant that was built 2 years ago, and they're expanding it this year.
It's not big enough to handle the Rhode Island landfill.
They're actually hauling it right now to Ohio. Okay, the guys from around here that have been hauling that stuff, they're bringing it to Ohio. Ohio has a facility that you're saying that handles all of that stuff now, Mike.
So we want to prohibit all that then.
Yeah, yes, and I guess we want to get specific, okay, because we don't want commercial facilities established for the purpose of storage, processing, or disposal of organic and non-organic waste.
Right. And
Okay.
commercial being the key word there.
That's the key. So we do not want that, but we have to be aware of the fact that the whole system is changing because of the volume of waste that's out there, and there's going to be a lot of pressure. So we might want to go back and reinforce that language when we go to future agenda items.
So are you suggesting we get rid of commercial and just put facilities established?
I suggest that we discuss that with Joanna at some future date and make sure that that says enough about how important this is and that we are a watershed. So I would say leave it prohibited, but move it to future agenda for further discussion and reinforcement. Okay, next one is the commercial slaughterhouse.
Sorry, say
Oh,
that.
laundry.
Say one more
I'm
time.
sorry, commercial laundry.
So for commercial, for the storage and processing of waste, Mike, you're saying put that on future agenda items?
Yeah, so we can review it and make sure it covers the real hazard. Because there's gonna be, I think towns like Foster are gonna be challenged to provide space for processing organic waste.
Oh, yeah.
And that could come in the form of a lawsuit. Because the landfills are not gonna be able to handle it, and the truckers can't afford to go out to Ohio or Seneca Falls, New York with a load of organic waste. It's cost prohibitive. That's gonna be a hot button. Commercial laundry accepting a laundromat as provided for in section 38-191. And because we didn't have car wash, okay? I think that came up. We didn't want to prohibit it. We wanted a special use permit. Is that right?
Yeah,
I don't remember car wash.
car wash, there's not even one on there.
No, it's not. So it's not prohibited.
Well, I guess we just wanted commercial laundry to be a.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Vehicle washing shop is at the end of the list.
What's
So
that?
Vehicle washing shop.
Yeah.
It's at the end of it's under V.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
I think we wanted to allow this commercial laundry with a special use.
Oh, what is commercial laundromat? You talking about like one of the large laundry facilities where they're doing, you know, sheets and blankets from
Yeah.
hotels,
Yeah,
with chemicals and all that other stuff? So
Yeah.
as long as they provide an ample plan for their wastewater and recycling water, we're fine.
right. So it would be a special use permit. So they'd have to provide all that stuff. And again, if we're going to move anything off, we then need to define it and figure out what zone. And then also, if you want to make a special kind of provision as far as what their special ordinance needs to show.
Thank you. Commercial slaughterhouse, we said
So
prohibited.
commercial laundry is staying as
Yeah,
prohibited?
commercial laundry, special use permit.
Wait. If it's allowed by special use permit, it's not prohibited and gets moved off this list.
Right,
Right.
Is
right.
that what we're saying?
right. As long as they meet the standards for waste disposal and handling, then that will be okay.
Why is a commercial slaughterhouse prohibited, Mike?
Again, goes back to organic waste.
But they're all regulated from the NADA and everything.
Yeah,
They're regulated as can be.
that's
They
true.
have to have drains, they have to take that out. I mean, we're in the country here. Everybody's bringing their animals to Connecticut to be slaughtered and NADA processed. And a lot of people are killing them and processing them anyway in their yards or wherever their little farm is.
Yeah.
And selling the stuff. But I mean, that's pretty well regulated. I mean, that's very regulated, a real slaughterhouse. I mean, it don't matter to me. There's nothing coming down the pike here in Foster anyway. I mean, you either put it on or you don't. It doesn't bother me, but that's a pretty well regulated thing.
Would anybody object to a special use permit for a commercial slaughterhouse?
Can we just leave it as prohibited for now and again, come back, review it in the future.
We could do that too. Why
That's
don't we do that? That's more
Idea.
positive, okay? Let's
Okay.
leave it prohibited, but put it on future agenda, Helen, okay?
Yeah.
Is that
Just
what
so
we
we can hopefully get through a couple more of these.
Because I think there's a larger discussion that can probably happen on that one. So
Yeah. Creosote manufacture prohibited. Dormitory, except where accessory to a permitted use. I don't, maybe Joanna can help us with this. Is that language pertinent today, or is it, do we need to modify that?
I guess when would a dormitory not be an accessory use, right?
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I don't know when this was, I'm not sure when they listed this, but were they talking about like some type of rooming house? I don't really.
Possibly, yeah.
It could be a campground, it could be a state police training academy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then that's the accessory. It's not like a standalone.
Right.
Right.
But it's a specific,
Unless I guess it's a dorm that's like, I don't know, if a college put up a dorm out in Foster, but the building wasn't on the same property or something like that. But
I don't think it's understandable, or it'd be really hard to describe
it's
that
well, it's not defined.
facility.
It's not defined.
What about a shelter? Is that considered a dormitory?
That could be a group home, it could be a mental health facility, could be a rehab center.
We have group homes.
We have group homes.
Do you mean a shelter as in if, there was a hurricane and people had to?
No. I think more like a homeless shelter, or, a drug rehab shelter, or something along those lines. Would that be considered a dormitory? Or is that its own category?
I think it's.
those are considered what they call community residence,
Group homes and yeah.
which is a fancy word for dormitory that avoids the issue.
I mean, I almost feel like when this was written that there may have been facilities like if you, like way back in the day, couldn't you live at the YMCA? Couldn't you like rent a room and
Right.
live there?
You still can. Yeah, I know that.
Again, it's accessory as well. So
Yeah, well, look at, can I just want to break in here a minute? What comes to mind for me are migratory workers. There are
Yeah.
lots of dormitories out in New York for migratory workers. My suggestion here is that we just eliminate it, because I think we've got enough specific applications for property identified. This is opening up a door
Agree.
that we don't need to deal with. Pretty much like we decided that the other one we eliminated was too hard to defend. This also gives somebody as much of an advantage in the wording as it prohibits, in fact, a use that's not clearly defined. So I'd say it's NA and we eliminate it. Is anybody violently opposed to that?
Remove it.
Yeah, the dorm gone, okay. Very good. Okay, dry cleaning plant, prohibited.
Yep.
Explosive manufacture, prohibited. Fertilizer manufacturer, same as explosives. Well, maybe.
Prohibited. To get to-
How about special use permit? So if somebody wants to manufacture organic fertilizer,
Okay,
like Miracle Grow or
Yeah.
whatever,
there's a lot of organic fertilizers that these guys are manufacturing. for the
it may be, I'd say this might be a cash grab. So special use permit, okay? Is anybody violently opposed to that?
So,
I'm
Would
sorry,
we-
so fertilizer, you're saying organic fertilizer manufacturer or chemical fertilizer?
I'd say fertilizer manufacturer, to be a little bit more, I don't want to say organic, because then the organic definition powers over the economies of actually processing, let's say, cow manure into, dried cow manure. the guy may not be able to afford to, we probably don't want him to have a plant. We just want to have him the ability to produce fertilizer locally that he can market.
Fertilizer, I'm not quite sure how fertilizer is manufactured, but I know that, if I go look at the fertilizers, for our garden, it's the, nitrogen, phosphorus,
Yeah.
In different proportions. That sounds to me, it's not organic. And that sounds to me like chemical manufacture. And we have prohibited.
Can we change it then to organic?
Well, no, we don't want to prohibit organic fertilizer.
No, but can we make
Chemical,
organic fertilizer manufacturing special use?
That's what to do, Michael. Organic fertilizer, special use
Is that
permit.
okay, Helen?
Yeah, guys can come in and they're making it all the time now for the marijuana growers and all that. They're all using the natural organic.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. My friend's making millions of dollars down in North Kingston, making some pot fertilizer that he called organic and it keeps bugs away or something. And he's making it in a small area. If somebody wants to make a big manufacturing thing of it, I think he comes in with a special use permit, wants to put a building up, have at it.
Okay, we got a chance to blow through this, and with just a couple of items being carried forward. So how about fossil fuel and nuclear power generating station?
I'm sorry, with fertilizer manufacturer, are we saying
Organic,
except,
special use.
except,
Use for organic.
Yes, Helen, except organic.
except organic, please? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you can do it either way. Okay, here we go with fossil fuel and nuclear power generating station prohibited.
Thank
Any
you.
problem with that? Glue manufacturing prohibited.
Good.
House trailer park or colony, I guess we're prohibited there. House trailer, mobile homes prohibited.
Except,
Hydrofracking for the purpose of oil or gas extraction prohibited. Iron or steel foundry prohibited. And here we go with the related organic waste disposal issue, offal or dead animal processing or treatment and distillation of bones, fats, or feathers, okay, that's prohibited.
Yep.
There are special places for that to take place that are highly regulated, so let's leave it.
That doesn't even sound nice.
No, that's not.
Prohibit that. That doesn't even sound.
Anybody who wants to watch that whole scenario on play, just go to Google bakercommodities.com. Biggest one in the country. Oilcloth or linoleum manufacturer.
Where'd they come up with this stuff?
Well, we can NA that because there isn't any more, or we can just continue prohibited.
let's just leave it.
Just leave it.
See, I think there's one in Pawtucket that manufacture linoleum.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Paint manufacturer prohibited. Petroleum refinery prohibited.
It's West Warwick. So.
And this is the one that everybody was kind of laughing about because everybody's got pigs. Piggery, you know, special use permit. Again, like Anthony said, the raising animals and slaughtering animals is highly regulated anyway. We allow X number of animals per acre. Why in God's name piggery is prohibited? I can't figure that one out.
So,
Unless,
Gnago threatened to bring up a bazillion of them up here, that's why.
oh, I guess. But you know, we're not in competition with the Meadowlands, so we don't have to worry.
so do we say commercial piggery, leave it, or what?
No, I'd say piggery special use permit.
No,
Because
the piggery is a place that feeds them garbage.
no, it's not.
That's the lawsuit we won.
Nah, not you
Yeah.
never win it again.
Yes, you will.
No, you won't.
The court said it was defined in zoning, and that's why we won it, because we met our definition.
So if a guy feeds pigs grain, we
Commercial,
won't allow it?
What do you call it? If he wants to call it a piggery, what are you gonna say?
You call it piggery is when they when they bring in garbage and feed it to them.
So the ordinance defines piggery. It says piggery means any lot, structure, or farm where garbage collected from off the premise is fed to pigs.
We're in there. No,
Leave it on there then.
I guess that would be a reason to say we need to have a special use permit for a pig farm.
But I don't think you need it. I
You
think
do
that
not.
that's agriculture.
No, that's agriculture.
You're fine. You can, I think that's the difference. That feeding the pigs garbage is not necessarily, they were making a distinction that it should not be considered agriculture because it's not natural. I don't know.
Webster's
Okay,
Webster's
Well-
dictionary doesn't say anything about garbage.
all right.
They were trucking in garbage from the rest of the state, basically.
Yeah, everybody had a little garbage pit, garbage can in their backyard with a cover on it that used to be picked up by the guys that ran the piggeries and fed to their pigs.
And that was generated on the premises. And
It was,
brought to the
again, I don't know what, if we have this and the definition is, as Warren said, if it's still a current definition, what do you think? Just leave it prohibited. How's that?
It doesn't include pig farm, so we might as well leave it on.
No, does not include pig farm where grain and hay and.
No, okay, so piggery is
Right.
prohibited, okay?
Okay.
And I honestly don't think it includes if you feed the pig your own trash. It's just trash that you bring from off-site.
Off-site,
Leave it
absolutely.
on there.
Okay, so piggery is prohibited.
But a pig farm is.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna go there.
Pig farm. Okay.
We already have pig farms. We already spend 4% of our budget on capital expenditures, but whether or not we admit it doesn't really matter. Potash manufacturer, that's for paint. That should be prohibited. Racetracks or any description where a fee is charged or donations made, except as allowed under section 38-191.
Are there any racetracks in the state?
Yes.
I think we should prohibit racetracks.
Why?
Would you want to live next to one?
Why?
Would you want to live next to one? They're loud. You know, let other people have the racetracks, and if you want to go race at another racetrack, yeah. But if you want, just out of courtesy to the people in town, I guarantee you, if you put it out the vote, no one's going to want.
You can put it under special use permit, and then they have to come in and see where it is. It depends where you want to put it, George.
But
Okay, you can't make it broad. Right there next to somebody's house. Did you ever go to the one over the road here at Central Village? The bikes actually go through people's backyards, and then it goes into 200 acres of woods.
Crazy.
Depends where you want to put it. You want to put it on Cucumber Hill Road, or do you want to put it in a 200 piece of
But we don't. But if we don't allow it, we don't have to worry about where we want to put it.
Okay, I think let's not get into a real deep discussion. Let's just say racetracks don't exist. Not all racetracks make noise. Would we, let's be honest, as a planning board, would we be interested in a motocross track for the kids? Would we be interested in a kayak race course on one of our ponds?
Oh, that's
Would
not
we
a
be
race.
interested in a
pedal bike racetrack like Dan's Garage. Here's what you have to understand, George. Let me make it clear to you right here, okay? And you're new to the board, and let me explain something to you. Being on the board, okay, is what your decisions are what's best for the town, not your personal opinions on what you believe is right or wrong. It's what would be best for the town. If there's an area where a guy's gonna bring in a racetrack, generate money and funds, that's best for the town. If it's something that's gonna be next door to you, then you don't want it there, then you gotta leave that
No,
at the
I guess what I'm saying, Anthony, is as I'm thinking in the best interest of the town. You know what I mean? Like if it's not going to, there's no room to put a racetrack near me, so it's not going to go here. But would I want to be the person or the people living near the racetrack, the townspeople who live near the racetrack? I would not. So I'm considering my neighbor in the decision I'm making. You know what I mean? I'm not considering myself. That's why I ask you, would you want it next to your house?
Yeah, but
I probably would, but if there is a big enough distance between somewhere in some commercial area where that could be zoned,
well, can I just remind everybody that in parenthesis after this prohibited use is except as allowed under section 38-191.
Means, which is what? What's that section?
That's zoning,
That's the zoning use table.
okay? So
Have that here?
that's why we recommend to the zoning board whether or not the concept is within the zoning regulation and whether or not they should consider it. That's all we do. We don't approve or disapprove.
correct.
So it's good
So-
the verbiage the way it is then.
So
Can I also say, I support what George just said about what's good for the town in
yeah, but
It's not always
exactly.
financial.
But no, if we could just move forward.
Yeah.
Accepting the fact that racetracks of any description where a fee is charged or donations made, except as allowed under section 38-191. Joanna, you can help me with this, but that kind of begs for consideration of the concept based on the fact that racing is not always involving motorized vehicles or not always infringing on the rights of abutters, and that anyone with a good idea to produce a revenue generating facility that could help business in the town should be heard, should have the courtesy of being heard.
I think you probably should take a vote on this one as far as if you want to leave it prohibited or move it to special use permit.
Well, why don't we move, we already are moving several things to a future agenda. Why don't we?
Discuss this again in depth, because there's a lot of things that you can get ready for, okay? It's just like what you're doing, okay? Just real quick, so you can think about this on get ready for it, because it's coming down the pike, okay? Guy can take 5 or 6 of his friends because he's got a lot of property up here, and they all can start shooting their guns, and it's okay. But he can't open up a gun range. So Guy can have 6 or 7 of his friends come in with their dirt bikes and start driving around in a circle. No difference than if the guy had commercial property and he was with a racetrack per se. So I think we need to discuss this a lot more than just a plain out no.
So leave it as is and move it to further discussion.
Yes,
You got it.
okay?
Agreed.
Now, the next one is easy. Rendering of fats, oils, or bones goes right back to what we eliminated was offal or dead animal processing or treatment, and distillation of bones, fats, or feathers. So I'd say we just eliminate that as redundant to the one we already left on the prohibited list. Okay?
I agree.
Okay.
Rubber manufacture or treatment, okay?
Prohibited.
Yeah, I'd just say prohibited. We don't really make much out of rubber anymore, but just prohibit it. A smelter, I'd just say prohibited.
Yep.
Keeps us out of trouble. Storage, processing, or disposal of hazardous waste or material, prohibited. Canning or curing of hides, prohibited. Textile dyeing or finishing, prohibited. Vehicle washing shop, except where public sewage disposal is available and except where utilizing a water reclaim system. There's a technical aspect of this that would allow us to put a wash shop in our own town garage to keep the trucks from vaporizing with salt corrosion. So that's another relook. Okay, technology now gives us the opportunity to put in a vehicle washing station with recyclable water and proper disposal, which would be very popular and very safe. So why don't we take a look at that under future items as well, okay?
Talked about moving that to a special use,
Right,
It already says we're utilizing a water reclaim system.
Yeah, so which is why we probably should move it to a special use, because right now there's no real regulation about it. It just says, so you don't even need a special use. So if you
Yeah.
take that all out,
Okay.
So I think that's how most of them do business now anyways, using
And
the
they're all
reclaimed water.
reclaimed.
So what Joanna, I think what you're saying is that it's a by right use.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it is right now.
And I imagine what do we have, 2 gas stations in town?
Yeah, big ones.
Yeah, so they're gonna, I'd be surprised if they don't want that use attached to it.
okay, so that'll be special use permit then?
Okay.
Yeah,
Leave it stand under a special use permit. Wastewater treatment facility or sewage sludge incinerator prohibited?
Hello, can I back you up 1 second?
Sure.
We approved a vehicle washing station at the town, at the DPW.
Yeah,
Sometime,
but we didn't have, it's not there.
we approved the funds, Helen, for it a long time ago, 90,000, but I don't see it there yet. And they should have a tank and reclaim their own water also.
okay,
Hey,
so
hey, congratulations, everybody, we did it.
Do you want to take a vote?
What's that?
Do you want to take a vote?
Yes. Someone, can I have a motion to accept the changes on the town codes here?
And to move the selected items to future agenda.
Well, I think what needs to happen is that we should, if Mike, essentially, yes, we need to have a vote to approve this, but then I think Mike probably should, because we're gonna have to submit this to the town council as kind of one thing. So it makes sense to vote that these are going to be our recommendations, and we're going to come back to follow up on the special use issue and the future agenda, the items that needed more consideration, and maybe Mike can put it together for essentially in a format that we want to present.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So the motion would go, somebody moves and somebody seconds to approve the recommendations and send them to the town council, and to move the special use permit items for future consideration, something like that.
So moved, Ellen, you can write it.
I'm trying. Okay.
Second?
We didn't get, Mike, did you move that?
I did.
I'll second that.
And who seconded, please?
Warren, for a second.
Thank you, Warren.
That's great, everybody. Long time.
Roll call.
We vote?
Book call.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going by my screen. Anthony?
Aye. Yes.
Okay. Warren?
Yes?
Mike, yes.
Aye.
David?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Is that all of us?
You
Hi, Chris.
and you, Helen, you have to say.
And me too. Okay. So that's all.
I think what would be good for tonight, this was our first Zoom meeting. I think it went pretty well. I think we'll be able to handle this for the future. I think because it's here on the future agenda items, we can move some other things, Michael, that are on this agenda items, and we'll meet next time for this month. I was saying once a month, but just for this next time in August, we can meet on our next one and wrap up a couple more things and move forward. And I would think tonight this was good. And I don't think there's anything really here that we really need to go forward on.
You should just continue all those items.
Yeah, just
What's
vote.
that?
Can you please, if you would like to make a motion to continue the remainder of the items? So that would be items F through J to the next meeting. Well, you wouldn't make the motion, but somebody else would need.
Warren makes a motion to forward items F through J of the August 5th agenda to the next scheduled meeting of planning board.
Perfect.
Which, by the way, is August something,
19th?
because this was not actually a scheduled meeting.
Yeah, the 19th. The next meeting would be the 19th.
Normally, we just have one meeting in July and one meeting in August, but we didn't meet in July, so August.
Second,
Second.
Who was the
is that
second?
George?
It was not, but I will second if you'd like me to.
I didn't know who it was. Who was
Mike.
the second?
Mike,
Oh, all right, Mike. We need the roll call.
Yeah, can I have a,
Anthony Renzi.
Okay, Anthony,
yes?
Warren,
Yes.
Mike,
yes.
David,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
me too. Okay, good.
I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Warren, second?
Don't need a second.
We motion to adjourn is
Okay.
voted anytime. It doesn't need a second. It has to be voted immediately.
Want to thank everybody for coming. That's pretty good. I
Wait,
mean,
all in favor? Anybody? I'm sorry.
what happened?
Aye.
We got to vote again?
Hi, George.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Fiona.
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
Mike, David,
Aye.
George.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, okay.
All right, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Michael, thank you so much. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank
work.
you. You have my contact. You have my email. If anybody needs anything, I'm in the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.